the 5-Minute Salute. I'm your host, Chris Budihas, and joining me virtual is Chip Daniels and Chris Rogers with the 1-5 Cav Black Knight Foundation. Gentlemen, it's good to see you for our audience. I served in Baghdad with both Chip and Chris, and they are here to talk about this amazing documentary they're putting about their experience. And I'm going to just give it to Chip to take it from here to tell us about what we're doing and how we're doing what they're doing with the foundation.
Well, Chris, I appreciate it. Like you mentioned, you were there. You know this story, and you and your unit had a part in it. And it's just amazing that we have the chance to reconnect this way. And we do really appreciate your support in helping us to get this story told. This came about a year ago. We had a former lieutenant of ours who started his own nonprofit, the Military Basketball Association, in an attempt to help soldiers heal, from trauma and moral injury. And eventually that led to a documentary about that organization. And that documentarian asked him, hey, what's your motivation for this story? Where does this come from? Where's this passion come from? And he said, if you want to hear a real story, you got to hear the story of my battalion, 1-5 Cav. Back in Iraq in mid-2000s. And that's what led to this. So we've been working on this for about a year. And the reason we're doing this is the story has to be told, like you mentioned. We lost 18 soldiers during that deployment, Chris, as you know, and you guys paid a price as well. But we've lost at least 33 since we've been back, 33, and most of those to suicide. So that's 51, sons, brothers, husbands, fathers that are gone. And we believe that the story needs to get out there. I recently spoke at a renaming ceremony of a VFW post down in Chattanooga, Tennessee, named after one of the soldiers we lost on May 19th, 2007 in a massive IED explosion. And I was very surprised to find out after I spoke that some members of his own family didn't understand what happened in Baghdad after that terrible, terrible day. And as you know, because you were there, things turned and got much better over time. So we want our Gold Star families to know, we want our surviving soldiers to know about the positive impact that they had. But that requires effort, so we decided to form the foundation in an attempt to raise funds to produce that documentary and then provide any other funds to other veteran services organizations who are trying to do the same thing.
That's great. Chris, please.
Yes, sir. So again, Chris, thanks for this opportunity to help us tell the story. We stood up the foundation, as Chip said, really as a means to an end to try to continue to, number one, tell the story, get the documentary out, and then to provide back to other organizations that are helping support us now and to help our veterans who are suffering. In a twist, Chip talked about the 19th of May, 2007. And then on the 29th of May was really when the story started to turn. It went from tragedy to partnership. And on the 28th of May, 2025, on the eve of that transition, our foundation was founded and established. We have filed for 501c3 status with the IRS, pending approval now, anticipating that here in the next few weeks. But we are, really dedicated to putting this story together so that we can support more soldiers and veterans in their struggles.
So Chris, you kind of teased, and so did Chip. I mean, the story for our audience, most of our audience is civilian, by the way, and we're international. The story's amazing. It's about a very kinetic part of West Baghdad, and then we transition where there's a turning where an AQI leader, so so Al Qaeda in Iraq leader turns against Al Qaeda to the U.S. Somebody's been killing your soldiers. You guys embrace him, which was probably to your soldiers like, what are we doing here? But the ability to partner in really the Sons of Iraq kind of movement, though started in multi-division West, the reality of it is you guys had your own turning movement. I mean, this stuff is like a daytime drama you would see of just change, risk, death, destruction, but also happiness, because Amaria over time starts to flourish, which was a known bad guy hotspot there. And so for our audience, man, when you talk about time, treasure, and talent, the ability to give those a nonprofit, I'm going to highly encourage them to give some treasure to make this thing a reality, because the story does need to be told. There's plenty of great movies out there that you see about Fallujah, Ramadi, but there was other places in Baghdad were just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, and that story's not been told. And the fact that you guys, 1st Cavalry Division is a great organization with a long history. Man, what you guys did during the surge was just, books need to be written and stories need to be told about the amount of sacrifice, and then also the heroism that occurred with your unit. It just very impressive. So Chip, where do we go from here?
Yeah, so right now we've done 3 rounds of filming for the documentary. We started in December back at what was then Fort Hood, Texas, where the unit was located. And we interviewed about 10 to 12 former soldiers. We had about 40 show up. Many of them just showed up on their own when the word got out. We had a young man who was actually a driver for Chris and myself back then. He drove on his own from Florida to Texas just to be there, and wasn't scheduled to interview. And some of his footage is some of the best footage we have. And then we ended up interviewing a few other folks later, and we interviewed General David Petraeus, the former multinational force Iraq commanding general, as you know, Chris.
Yeah.
We interviewed him at the end of March, and we just released a version of a trailer covering his interview just prior to the 4th of July weekend. It's very, very powerful because he discusses the strategic context of what happened in Western Baghdad, as you just described. We've got another round of filming to do with about 4 or 5 other folks, and a very special round of filming that we're going to do at the end of this month, because you talked about that insurgent leader who flipped against Al Qaeda. We're actually going up in 2 weeks to Canada to interview him. We've not seen him since December of 2007. My last words to him in that last meal we shared were, "You are the bravest man I've ever known."
Wow.
And that still remains true to me today, and we're looking forward to that reunion. That's
amazing. Hey, Chris, as we wrap up, how can folks find the 15 Cav Black Knight Foundation, and how can they, not only find you, but also contribute to make this a reality?
Hey, Chris, I hope we can share the website with you, virtually as well, but it's 15cavfoundation.org. 1-5 cavfoundation.org. And there's links in there to be able to contribute and support the effort that we're doing here.
That's wonderful. I know we're pressed for time. Chip, Chris, I'm going to have you back on. I'm going to get you on another podcast I have a little bit longer so we can dive a little more into the details. But again, man, I appreciate you guys' friendship. Always great to have somebody on your flank that's looking out for your best interest, not only in combat, but beyond. And man, when I saw that 4-minute clip, which I'm going to also encourage and push out to my audience, is go watch it. It's compelling, what these folks went through, and it's not lost on me, Chip. 18 deaths in combat, then to have over 30 deaths by suicide and other means post that. That's a crisis, and the ability to kind of spread the word and show that sacrifice was not made in vain is very honorable. So, gentlemen, thank you for your service to the nation. Thanks for what you're doing for 15 Cav, and I look forward to continuing the conversation.
Thank you, Chris. It was
Thanks,
great
Chris,
to serve
very
with you
much.
then. Again. Thank you.
Absolutely. Hey, folks, take a look at our show notes. I'm going to publish out the website. If you got a little bit of treasure, please contribute to 15 Cav Foundation. The story is remarkable. When you watch it, you're going to be like, is this made up? And I would tell you it is 100% true, and it is an amazing story of sacrifice and heroism on a modern-day battlefield. So, again, take a look at our show notes. Please watch this clip, share it, follow us, connect with us on LinkedIn. We'll see our next segment, Live with Gratitude.